Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Torchlight. Let's continue. So, we are about to fight a big boss because it says Lair of the Sisters instead of just a floor number. One thing that occurred to me as we're looking at this menu, you have 6, 7, 8, 9 here, which lines up with the number bars, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. It makes sense that if I'm playing with my right hand, as most people are, with the mouse, and a keyboard on my left hand, which makes sense, you could do 1 through 5. You're really stretching without looking down to do 6, 7, 8, or 9. That's not like typing. That's not your QWERTY on the home row keys style of typing in any ways. And most gamers aren't going to have their fingers on the ASDF keys anyways on the keyboard when gaming. You're going to bring them up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, more than likely, not 5, because that would be the thumb and that would be pretty difficult to do. So my point here is, at least for this game, this interface is not better on a keyboard. It really isn't. Not until you go and get a gaming left-handed, specifically modified keyboard input device that's kind of like a gamepad that very few people actually bother to buy. It's not until that point could you really reach 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So this whole bar, half of the bar, is pointless. All of these indicators are done by their name, so you have I, and then you have C, which is nowhere close to I, and then you have S, which is a little bit close to C. S and C are on the left side, I is on the right side of the keyboard. You're really just not... That was interesting, it just shot the guy right off the edge. Yeah, it's really just not better laid out. If anything, I would argue, and this is a weird argument to make, that very little thought is put into this specific game. Maybe other games are smarter about implementing their the use of mouse and keyboard, but this game in particular, it's kind of nothing. It's like they just did the whatever came to their head first and hoped it would work well enough so nobody would complain. We're in a weird position a little bit right now because I accidentally disenchanted my weapon and we're trying to reach a point where we'll get back to using a new replacement weapon. There was a bunch of enemies that just got summoned here. Bunch of slimes. So I activated what was effectively a trap, but maybe isn't labeled as a trap. I feel like that door magically opened by me clicking a lever, too. I have quite a lot of explosive damage happening here, considering what I'm using right now is a just a bow and arrow. So half of the floor had to be opened that direction, and then the other half of the floor has to be opened with the lever here. So they're making a special effort to make sure that the boss enemies can't get to me before I'm ready, and I need my finger on the 3 button. There. Yeah, I'm back to like 2-hit shots when I was getting 1-hit shots, and I was doing rather nicely with a shotgun that was taking out enemies that happened to be right next to each other. You can see there's a decent amount of pulling that goes on in this, and not as much distance as I would like. I wonder if that has somewhat to do with the fact that we're at 1080p resolution, although frankly being at 1080p resolution should make everything a little bit smaller. I guess it might affect the edges of the world, because you'll be showing more of a visible portrait of the visible window compared to, like, I guess 720. We can see we're taking a bit of a beating, but what's more than likely going to happen is before I even get around to drinking health, I'll level up. Nope, I'm going to hit a 1 and use a health pad potion. At some point I flicked that switch, apparently. When did I do that? That's odd. The switch is flicked, and yet I don't recall doing that. But I'm not gonna assume that I didn't, or maybe... Yeah, here's another switch that's been flicked, and I've definitely not been in this area, so maybe there's a trap that will happen later and we'll have to come back and switch these switches, or perhaps this is just so generically designed as an area you have a chance of seeing that kind of levers and movable platforms from both ends. Now, what makes a Diablo boss interesting is they usually were unique enough and there'd been some setup for them. This is the Lair of the Sisters. I've had no setup for anything called the Lair of the Sisters. Is a merchant. But then they also have on top of unique visual appearance, a unique collection of sound effects. But when we start to think about the sound effects in this game, it's been rather quiet. Like, it's just smacking, hitting. We're not really getting anything that implies there's an enemy nearby that might be of a certain strength or might be a unique character. We get a little bit of skeleton sound effect, and that's kind of it near a skeleton. Alright, let's see. Time for more menu hero. Let's go with this. We had already identified this. Right. +3 attributes compared to the helmet we have. So that's better. So we'll get rid of that. This is a story thing. I don't want to give it to somebody else. I don't want to give anything to the dog that I might accidentally send the dog off to sell items that I actually want to keep. Yeah, we have health potions, which more and more just a waste of time. So do I want 2 strength or physical and elemental damage by 4%? The question really is a +2 solid number the equivalent of 20%, or does it calculate in any way whatsoever to 4%? Is it the equivalent of 2%? And since the numbers really aren't explained to us, and frankly in most games you don't care enough to investigate how the systems work, I just am going to go ahead and assume that that's a better move. This one would increase all points damage by 5% and dexterity bonus. Yeah, I think that's better than what we've got. As long as it's not decreasing the amount of experience we're having or something like that, decreasing the gold find or something else. Here's a crossbow, does 71 damage, and yeah, we can just keep on doing this. What's funny is this belt is double the armor, but there's nothing else to it, so unless I was going to go and try and enchant this belt, which might not be a terrible thought if we get back to the storefront. So, like, and same's true for things like the quarterstaff. If I found a really good quarterstaff to sell, I would probably sell it. Alright, here's a heal all 1, which I think you kinda have to know heal all 1 before you can do heal all 2, so we'll just learn both of those spells right now to save ourselves some time. And then now it's looking for the flickering around. Was there anything else that we missed? Bits of gold. Our mana just respawns, so it's not a concern at all to do identify. Yeah, unless we run into something that requires a major amount of mana to identify, which I don't think ever happens in this game. That would be rather silly. Now there might be an achievement to use shrines over and over again, so I'll run in here, and I don't think that there was a way to ever get down to that lower area, but I bet there are times when they use that lower area as a way of as a different kind of area to look at. Let's see, so we'll sell all of this. Alright. Go ahead and identify this. That's nothing. Sell that while we're at it. Alright. What does he have for purchase? We could get a map scroll to open a portal, which at some point that might make sense. We could get cracked deep ember. Let's see. And yeah, I don't think there's a ring here that would increase magic find, but that's not a major improvement really. I don't think any of these weapons or any of these armors were here by default, so they've just put this guy here, so you can basically buy health potions and only health potions. It would have probably been better if that was the only thing you could buy. No, not that. We'll summon our little imp. You know what I can do though is I could hold down, let's see, where are we? This, and turn it to heal all. Now when I right click, I'll heal all in case I need to, so I don't have to use potions. We're getting poisoned. Almost certainly, once we beat the bosses, they'll give us another shortcut. And with that new shortcut, we'll go back to the top and talk to people, get some dialogue, and get some new quests. Because we kind of are just on this one major quest right now. It seems one can shoot through the walls, at least in part. If you stand here, it seems like you can hit some of these guys through the wall just due to bad physics and cheat the game completely. I think I just triggered a trap, and because of that I'm now stuck on the wrong side of the wall. These guys are doing nothing to me though. Like it really is just nothing. They're so weak. In all fairness, I am playing this on easy, and I do remember this being much more of a challenge when I was playing it originally. Probably on normal when I played this 10 years ago. But it's really hard to make that justification to play something and extend the life of a game like this when you know there's a sequel that will almost certainly be better in every way.
I can't carry anymore.
And so, yeah, I don't see why you do this. Here's another instance of another instance of the camera zooming in and not really knowing what it's doing, so instead of fading the walls or something that you would expect it to do, you're just seeing a solid wall. Let's see. At 5 armor, faster movement. This is way better. Now, it would be nice if I could get something more on it than just faster movement as far as an ability, but just being able to move a little bit faster is nice. This is a average attack speed with a socket that does 8 more damage, but it's not a ranged weapon, so that's not something I would want to engage with. Let's see. At this point, yeah, just put all 20 of the things away. And we have a point. We are at level 10, which means we can now start getting adventure. So we made it to level 10, which will increase our experience, our fame, and our potion effectiveness. Every level up going forward, we want to increase that at least until, like, maybe, well, level 20 would be barter. Pet mastery would be a little bit nice, but you can get that a lot later. Armor mastery, I have 2 more levels to get that upgraded. Seems like you only get 4 spells that you can have at any time, which I guess is fair enough. I'm not sure if I really needed to spend a point to get to that. And then the next bit is the inventory. This gun requires level 11 and dexterity of 32. So there's dexterity of 32, but it requires the next level. So Do I want to put more into defense? It probably wouldn't hurt. Let's put an extra dexterity just in case. And 15 defense sounds good to me. Alright. Yeah, I think that works nicely. A lot of things to collect here, a lot of items before we fought the boss, almost as if they are expecting you to have trouble with the boss and they're just countering it by having the game give you a large amount of items instead of bothering to actually balance the difficulty. In fairness to Torchlight, I do recall playing Diablo on normal and at times running into some of the enemies and dying over and over again. I don't know if that's really going to happen in this game, particularly since I'm playing on easy, but I honestly don't know if that would have happened much anyways. So we started in the mines, and now we're in these areas that are like the tops of giant pillars, telling you, or at least implying, that there is a considerable like cavern you're in, and as you go deeper and deeper you're going to find larger and larger environments / structures. I don't like the random layout of all this though. I have to say it's kind of annoyingly awkward where you're going one direction and then you have to realize, oh, actually I'm going the wrong way. I need to go over here and deal with this, otherwise I'm going to miss it. Yeah. And see, I honestly don't know. Yeah, I apparently did go the wrong way. Or was going the right way, and now I went the wrong way. Now I need to go the other way. Yeah, it just has you walking too far away from where you would want to go. Yeah, this feels like a big boss dungeon. And see, this is the problem. You end up going backwards and forwards, thinking to yourself, well, is this the right direction, or is this the right direction? Since there is a mana potion here, it wouldn't be a bad position to... Here's a named minion. And you get quests to kill the named minions, but there's kind of an amount of fame I think you get if you kill them, even if you don't have the quest. So I might be missing out on some quests here.
I'm overburdened. I can't carry anymore.
Let's kill all these people. More skeletons inside the spawn. Again, full of inventory. This is ridiculous. Summon zombie 1. So we can go ahead and put that in the inventory. And I guess you could sit on spells if you wanted to. Let's see. And I guess maybe that would help you in the long run to accomplish more things. or just have those options available to you, I guess is all it really would boil down to. Slow attack plus 4% faster attack. That's kind of counterintuitive. It is doing 100 damage though. Ideally it would be nice if I could get up one more level, but I doubt I will be able to do that before the boss fight happens. The good point of that though is that we will be mostly done with it by the time we get back to the city. One strength attribute. I don't think we need that. Yeah, and you never really increase your inventory size. So the main gameplay loop is at some point we are going to quickly get down to just dropping items and not caring about them because we're going to be so overburdened with terrible things. Terrible loot. Alright, so heal all. Tab. No, this shifted to identify again. There we go. So heal all for about 12 seconds, and then Shrine of Mana to refill your mana. And the penalty for going in this area is that more enemies spawn, which really isn't a penalty at all, because then you get more experience and then you're better off in the long run. You get a lot of these. I remember just sections that are completely inaccessible. You definitely have to question why they bothered to animate those. At some point there is a production meeting. The manager, the person in charge of the game says, here's what's important, here's what we need to have made. There's not a lot of times where it would make sense and be logical to say what we need to be made is a pillar that will be in the air and cause no effect whatsoever to the gameplay or the interaction. I guess maybe visually it stops it from just being a collection of levels that are just floating in the air, but that's kind of it. I'm trying to take this one at a time so that we can, if we are going to summon extra enemies, we can deal with them slowly. Not that it's really an issue. Now what would be surprising in this giant room is if the keeper didn't appear.
The metropolis sealed. I could purge the corruption from the awakened with a little more time. But they will not listen. They call the Ember's effect a curse and feign concern for the peaceful rest of our ancestors. But fear alone guides them. If the Council refuses to accept the blessings of eternal life, we will keep the Ember for ourselves. Woe to any who disturb our sanctuary.
This is an interesting spin on Diablo. It's now this corrupting Ember instead of the influence of Diablo that's converting people into demons. So there's our special sound effect, and here's our special skin, and it's not even in English. Same sound effect. They're kind of like Zoras from Legend of Zelda, fish-like creatures. Yes, sister, the master will be grateful for the gift. Alright. So, I think rather easily I just killed one of the sisters. and I'm having really no problems at all. I'm not even using the magic too much.
Hey! I can't carry anymore.
The council has...
Alright, let's not read that again. So we got more dialogue
I can't carry
and
anymore.
audio.
My pack is full.
Alright, from just reading the story than anything else. Don't know what that lever did. Alright. So is it worth... Ah, it opened this area over here. Is it worth going back to the storefront?
I can't carry anymore.
Like, we're in a bad position here. Alright, we've got to look at the inventory. We've gotta find a place. Actually, let's just find a nice corner, or we send the dog.
Your pet has departed.
Just send the dog. I think that's all I can really do. And while we're waiting for him to come back, we'll identify things and see if they're better than what we have. More resistance, but less fast movement. I think my movement is kind of fine anyways. So +6 magic attribute bonus seems like this probably would be a better pair of boots. We have faster cast speed, which I'd like that, but not alone. Here, I'm just gonna drop this because I'm thinking I'm gonna be so full of inventory anyways.
Your pet has returned.
Now we have our pet, so we can start stacking him up with items. Yeah, extra health belt, faster movement speed boots we're gonna get rid of. Faster cast ring we're gonna get rid of. This leather cap we're gonna get rid of. 112 with a slow attack speed and a mace. I don't want to use a mace. Also, I don't think my strength is anywhere close to that. This quarterstaff is of no interest. This belt is really of no interest too. I should start with something that's at least a little bit enchanted before I try to enchant it more. The best way to play this game, I think, would be to find a great weapon at max level on the second playthrough, and then run through the game and hit all the enchantment items, wells. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, if all the enchantment wells are hit, I think at that point you're guaranteed. Yeah, I think the enchantment wells guarantee a level of items, of enchantments, with no chance of it not being enchanted. Whereas if you go to the storefront in the city, you have a chance of disenchanting. So do I want to pick up these two things? Might as well. Every penny counts, I suppose, for the moment, at least. And oddly, it's not taking us back to the city, which I thought it would. We're at the Tomb of the Awakened, floor 7.
I'm overburdened.
I'm gonna just defeat these two guys.
My pack is full.
And then take this and put it over here, and then take this, and then what I want to do, I have a new skill point, which would require level 11 to put that skill point into effect, which is weird because that means our skill points and our fame are not intertwined, or we get skill points when our fame goes up, apparently. Let's start by talking to this person. Yep. And he's rewarding me with a piece of armor that I should have gotten a while ago.
I can't carry anymore.
I've got the finest cut gems in Ember.
Alright. So we have this, which we don't want. We'll sell that. We need to just identify everything. It's totally free to identify everything, so might as well. Alright, and then we'll start looking at things. Yeah, that's not any better. That's not any better. That's not better. Alright, 2% increased gold find plus 1 strength versus 1% experience gain. I think I want experience way more than I want gold find, frankly. Let's see if that works on the dog, though. We don't want this. Definitely don't want that. Don't want that one. Out. Or that. Or that. Or that. Okay, and is there anything that we could really buy from her? Just crack skulls to increase our defense attribute or health stolen via hit. We are at the point now where it starts, it doesn't really make a terrible business decision to start buying some of that stuff. Midas chain enchanted. Ooh, if I could get the Midas chain, requires level 14. That's 9,000. I hope that's still around when I get around to it.
Bye.
Right. So here's a level 10 floor.
A new quest.
Right. Now, I have a cold crack ember. We're gonna try and use, and another cracked skull. We're gonna try and use. Let's see if we can.
Hello there.
Not enchant, but transmute. Transmute. So we have 1 dull cold ember, 1 cracked cold ember. Those won't work together. But 2 cracked cold embers.
Fortune smiles.
Turns into a dull cold ember,
Fortune smiles.
which turns into a discolored cold ember. Yeah, but that's not really anything I would want. Anyways, that's not something I think I need to socket into. The cracked skull turns into a dull skull. Putting this into this and stealing health with every hit sounds like a great move. I'm not sure we're ready to do that, however. And we have a cracked core ember.
Good luck to you.
That's where this is all gonna break down, is we're gonna have to make a whole system here in which different styles of gems take up space. embers, and this definitely needs to be sold. The Deathlace Ember.
I had heard of
Where are we turning in the Deathlace Ember? This guy has a new quest for us, and I'm willing to do that.
A new quest.
But before we do that, let's run around a little bit and make sure we... Do I have anything? I have a couple of things I need to sell. This is the Deathlace Ember quest.
Anything you need?
Mysterious map scroll. Alright.
You have gained a level.
Alright, we're good.
Hello there.
Now he wants me to find something else.
You have begun a new quest.
Is there anything down over here that's open yet? I don't think this opens for quite a while. It really is just in the absolute wrong place though. Alright. I think we can use this now. So, Dragon Iceborne, a legendary weapon. We should probably test it a little bit before we get rid of this weapon we have here. This armor has no need to exist. This will steal 5 health for that. And this is a different thing than this is. Casting speed, I don't think would be affected. So is there anything else that I'd really want? Mana stolen per hit's not really that important. I suppose we have to go with this. So, or we just live with it as it is. Frankly, we should probably just live with it as it is. Yeah, I'll take the health steal because that makes a little bit of sense, but nothing else does. Let's see if we can put this ring. Increase gold find by 1, increase experience gain, increase magic find. Does this possibly increase your experience that you would get because your dog is wearing it? Because clearly we have shared experience. So I'm gonna just assume that maybe that does work. And then sell that too. And we have a right click to open this to a lost dungeon, which that's the next thing we need to do. Alright, so we've got lost dungeons upon lost dungeons upon lost dungeons. Take this, go in here. We're going to a lost dungeon, which are the more randomized, I suppose, would be the way to say it. Experience. Now, I barely had enough for this weapon. So, what would I want to do? Maybe take 2 here, 1 here, and then 2 here. Or let's just increase the defense. I think my defense could certainly use it. Right, and then we've got another point here that we could use. And that almost certainly should be either pet mastery or armor expertise. Yeah. Melee damage bonus for 20 seconds when you cast a spell. This spell, yeah. I'm not really into casting spells. It's funny to say that, as this is exactly what I chose as a hero class, but yeah, I'm not really into the idea. This could be a big boss fight. gun's a little slower than the bow and arrow. But I am definitely one-shotting things, and that's not a real surprise when you have such a significant amount of damage you're doing. So there's a lever here. And I guess what we're gonna run into is I'm not hitting that guy at all. I guess what we're gonna do is raise up the floor. And that will let us get into other locations. Again, my imp is gone. I suspect they do a check to make sure that you would have killed somebody in a one-shot, and then they let the enemy get just shot off the edge every now and then. It might not actually be that complicated. It might be that they just randomly select some enemies to jump off the edge. One would hope that they had been pre-configured and programmed to not drop anything vital or drop anything at all when they were getting shot off the ledge. There's really no way to shoot the chests in case they're mimics, which is probably a good move. It would be a little dull if they made it possible that you could avoid getting jump scared effectively by a mimic, and then you have to spend the rest of the entire game checking for that. Of course, there's other gameplay mechanics to work around that. The slowly opening something to see, slowly opening a chest to see if there's a tongue in there would be an amazingly interesting gameplay mechanic. Maybe not for a Diablo-esque game, but it would work on several other kinds of games. So, yeah, my only real complaint is I would like this gun to be a little bit faster, but by doing 238 damage, you can't really complain about that. So this is going in there, and now it's going to get 5 health stolen on every use. Increased gold by 1% and increased magic by 1%. Let's see. Experience and experience. I don't know if there's anything here. This would be the replacement for that one, I guess. And they all look the same, so if you weren't hearing the ding, you wouldn't even really get any feedback that it switched. 141 damage. Now, nowhere even close. 2% magic attack bonus versus increased gold and increased magic find. Now we have a cracked fire ember, and now we're starting to see better items. And here's a 5 belt that I might consider to use at some point. It's a thought, at least, if I could enchant the belt. Yeah, I'm ready to get rid of that weapon. Alright. Back this way we go. There was really nothing over here. now we go this direction. We can see a really strong guy, but we're gonna have to get to him first. It really does kill the whole spell casting thing, though. There's just like no reason to ever cast a spell. When you have a shotgun that can do so much damage. That'd be an interesting story to tell, I suppose, as a world that once had magic and they completely forgot everything about it because they invented guns anyway. I suppose Into the Borderlands, if you've watched the end of their 3rd season, and kinda has that story. Yeah, it doesn't feel like 5 health getting stolen is enough. I'm not sure I really like that there's just gold on the floor in random places. I feel like that should be a little bit more special. This doesn't need to become a game where you're looking in every nook and corner for 6 gold. And I feel like in Diablo you could just walk over to gold and pick it up, and that doesn't seem to be the case here. And there we have a collection of enemies that apparently just spawned off screen, which I'm not sure how I really feel about that. This whole game being a theoretical spiritual successor to Diablo makes me kind of question, were some of the ideas here done just to make it different than Diablo, or did they really think the ideas were better? Are the ideas really better, or are they just different? You have to admit that for people who had been playing Diablo for probably a good decade on itself, like, nobody really stopped playing Diablo. You do one playthrough, maybe take a year break, and then go back and play it again if you're a major fan. So different really may have just been all that was requested and all that was required. This guy seems like he's always dragging his arm around. And that was a named character. Seems like the game paused there for a second to show this animation. And then it started skeletons at me immediately. Not really doing great on the health steal factor. I had thought that with as much cannon fodder was in this game, I would have killed more things. So I probably should get a more detailed idea of just how much health do I actually have. Am I into the 2000 range or higher? Alright, so how much health do I have? I have 295 of 600. So if I just drink one here, that'll get me up to 600. I'm not really seeing a lot of things that significantly increase your health. Just leveling up doesn't seem like it's going to do it. Right. Oh, so I did miss a lever way over here. And the AI pathing is not good enough to recognize that I would have to walk all the way around here. to do that. It was just in the darkness, I suppose. Again, it pauses the game to show that animation, and then it sends a large amount of skeletons after me, which the skeletons really aren't doing anything to me. At a certain point, it probably will behoove me to increase my demon summoning ability, whether that is just to have the imp be stronger or go with an elemental. I'm not sure. Is this glitched? I walked over here. I can walk over here. Right. Just a little wonky. A little bit of wonkiness there. And I assume that this is going to boil down to. Couple of shots more and he'll be dead.
My inventory is full.
And we're full on inventory again. Right. Doing a lot of this. More than I would really like. Even though I know we're having an accelerated experience. I know we're probably a quarter of the way done with the game. It's still a little too much. 6 armor, it's not something of any importance. This is 8 armor plus 3% gold find, so this is way better for a helmet. Wait a minute, why did that? This is the helmet, that's why. So this changes to that. And we have a necklace here. There would be electrical resistance, which I don't want to wear. This is probably better than what I have. Lost my weapon there for a second, probably because of this. Well, I guess this probably increases our dexterity attributes. Oh, it does. So I need to increase my dexterity. Here we have a much better belt at 9 armor than what we have equipped. So that's nice. Stack this. Sell that ring. Now our belt is at 9 armor, so this 9 armor belt, this 5 armor belt's no comparison. This is going. This is nothing. And that. Apparently we've got extra town portal scrolls too. We don't need more than 20 of those. Another weapon and another heavy belt. And I think you can still send your pet if you wanted to, but I don't think it really is going to matter too much here because this was a special scroll dungeon that's for the most part randomly generated with more enemies. I think there's an argument that you could make here that they've split up their interesting content in a weird way. because you have a storyline side portals that you can do from the city. You have randomly generated portals like this. Is a trap. Is there anything that was dropped during that? No. And then you have the main story, and I think you'd want to try to better integrate the main story.
My health is low.
I was not paying enough attention there. Thank goodness for that audio feedback. Yeah, I would... In Diablo 1, you're going further and further away from the city north in Act 1, and you run into caves, and often you'll get a reason to go in those caves via a quest, but often you can ignore those side quests or visit them later. But they're there, they're right in front of your face. Where everything here is dumbed down and simplified into just portals, which portals are the, with the exception of the game Portal and Portal 2, they are the example of we didn't really think how we were going to integrate this section of the game into the rest of the game. So we're just going to magically transport you from that point to another point. So I would have liked to see more caves here. I would have liked to see areas that floors that take you downward, but then you're... There you go. That's a giant spider killed in 2 shots. Like, if you could go down the stairs and then you find out, oh, this actually leads to just a caved in area, that would be fine. Right. Seems like there's a whole pattern here. This is an actual puzzle, actual content that you kind of could have missed. Remember, this is super side quest stuff.
My health is low.
Alright. And I cannot keep the identify spell from replacing the right click spell. So, tab, all I can do is this. But every time I use the identify spell in the menu, it switches it back around. Maybe there's something I could do in the inventory to work around that. We'll see in a second. This is pretty repetitive. They're just putting me through our paces. But since you're playing on easy, this isn't a problem, and it's just more experience. Of course, that's the whole game in a nutshell, is that it really is just grinding and getting more experience, and you can either go, yay, I'm grinding some more and getting more experience, or boo, the game is getting repetitive and dull. Both of those tunnel spiders in particular have not really felt like they were very dangerous or difficult. And I imagine that they are programmed not to walk very far away from where they are, because I suspect that they can't maneuver between like this edge or this edge very easily. This area is not gonna open up with a switch apparently. Alright. So if I was to, yeah, you can't move these around. So identify will always be in the second spot. It seems. 5 armor, increased ice and potion versus increased gold. 14 armor plus health. We are going a little late here, a little bit over, but I do want to see the end of this section. And we'll end back at the city. I can't imagine that there's much more here. So we need our dexterity up higher. I'm gonna go 1 on strength. I'm gonna go 1 on magic. And then I'm gonna put a couple more into dexterity. That way, if I change my equipment that's modifying my dexterity, I can still continue to use my weapon. One would hope that there would have been some checks or ways to ensure that that didn't happen. Yeah, I've never really played a Diablo-esque that says I can't remove that right now. It's required by another item. So, pretty good payout for this random area. Let's stand over here. We are really low. Let's see, drop that. Drop that. Let's see. Shield. Go ahead and drop that belt too.
I'm overburdened.
Man, you really need something more here. I assume belts and things are not going to be really worth much, even if they are enchanted, compared to weapons. And here we have a unidentified mace, and we have a, let's see, rare mace. Alright. So the idea would be to do the Shrine of Enchantment and take this gun, which is doing way more than this. It has a disenchant chance of 2%. I didn't realize it would have a disenchant chance, but okay.
Fortune is kind to you.
I thought it would be guaranteed enchantment, but whatever. Increases all ice damage by 35%. Plus 6 ice damage, so if I put more ice damage in, that would be great. So yeah, I don't know why there is a Shrine of Enchantment disenchant chance, because that feels like that should have been the one thing it wouldn't do, since those are so rare. But apparently that's not the case. Right. So we have a dull skull with a cracked skull. We have a cracked fire ember, and then we have a just ton of things to sell. At a certain point, increased gold will stop mattering, For instance, this would, if you have 2 pieces here, this will increase. This is a whole set, so we have to buy the whole set. Alright. So right now it would just be 84 health if I could even use it right now, but I can't, so I'm gonna try and buy the Midas sets, but I am gonna have to also keep in mind that
I don't have enough gold.
that's gonna be a long-term goal, certainly, to own all the Midas items. Everything else here is pretty much just gonna be sold. I have 20 of these now, so even my even major items are starting to become issues. We've got to get rid of the tasty fish meat too, by the way. I'm never going to get around to using that. Dull eyeball. I don't feel like I'm picking up enough of these potions. And I think what I'm going to eventually find out is that I'm not going to pick up regular health potions at all anymore. That's just not going to be a factor.
Oh, hello.
Dogfish transform into a dog permanently. This, I already have a dog, so I don't know why you would be selling the dogfish to me.
Good day to you.
It should be a catfish that you were selling to me.
Good to see ya. Watch your back.
It seems like the Midas equipment must come through some other means, because I don't see another piece of the Midas equipment, and I am totally down to just small amounts of
Bye. I got the finest cut
weapons.
gems and Ember. Bye bye.
Could try and enchant things, but I don't know, the risk there is so high that you would disenchant and lose all the items that are already enchanted. And maybe there's a way, if I had 2 of these, I could transmute them into larger spells.
Hello.
Right, so where are we as we're trying to wrap up here? We need to do this quest, and then we need to get back to the main story, which it definitely is distracting me. It is intentionally taking me further and further away from the main story, which there definitely is no hurriedness to this. Eventually I'm gonna have to make it to the end of the story because I'm corrupted by Ember, and that's kind of it. And I guess if I died, I don't even know what happens if you die in this game. So yeah, this is the main story. A cure for the corruption. A quest for glory is to go to floor 10 and defeat that guy. And then this is find shimmering Ember in an area filled with water, which is probably somewhere between here and there. When we were to see pet sheets, where's our journals? That's nothing. See, we're at level 12, and the max level I believe is 50 in the game, so 1/5, maybe closer to 1/4 of the way done with the game. we've got, in particular, skills that we're just ever trying to increase our gold find, our fame gain. Once this is up to level 10 or rank 10 as it is of adventurer, then we'll start trying to do, what is it? If we get up to rank level 20, we can start doing bartering, which would make things cheaper, which would be great. We only have 2 more levels we can put into this, and I don't think that there's much under the battle spells that I even want. Let's see, maybe there's something here you could get. I don't know if you max out at level 50 though, could you really have all of the ranks? I guess that depends on your fame, because your ranks and your skill points seem to go up based on your fame. Yeah, not based on your level. So you very possibly, I think in this game, will hit rank 50, maybe even close to halfway through the game, and then you're just going for fame, which is mostly random generated enemies. There's advanced spell casting, but that's not really a big deal. And it really is just barter and then treasure hunting, increasing your gold find, increasing your magic find. Magic being how enchanted items are. Well, we went 16 minutes over. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.